for years, gamers have been hearing the same exact thing. If you don't quit gaming, you're never going to get a real job. Well, that might not actually be the case because the government's looking at millions of gamers to fill some very needed positions. So today, we're going to be talking about that and much, much more. This is Dollars, Lifestyle, and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers.
Yeah, that's what's up. The government is after us, guys. Us gamers, the government is chasing you down. They're gunning us down to hire us. Not actually not. Yeah, they're not gunning us. They're capturing us. They're trying to hire us because they need us to fix the government. So gamers are fixing the government. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Yeah, gamers rule the
I
world.
okay. That's not exactly the angle I was going to take, but hey, listen, if someone can figure it out, if you can min max your way to victory in civilization, maybe you can min max your way out of the crippling debt our government is in.
Yeah, it's gonna take the fin gamers, the financial gamers like us to solve that part of it. But we can do the other, other gamers can solve the other parts of the government. Basically, the G in government stands for gamers. I think that's what we've learned from today's
You heard
episode.
it here first.
That's right. Calling it now. We're gonna have a government soon full of actual video gamers, and they're just gonna have to deal with it because we can do everything. We're learning everything through gaming. It's one big giant simulation. Conspiracy theories? Hmm?
Oh boy, let's not get into that. But what we should get into is how the FAA is actually actively recruiting gamers. This is really interesting because you actually sent me a video about this where there is a program because the FAA for years has had a severe shortage of air traffic controllers, and they are for a long, long time have been in desperate need for anyone to like actually take these jobs. So they specifically started a campaign to recruit gamers because they went through and they're like, you know what, gamers are really good at? They have good spatial awareness, they're good at problem solving on the fly, they're good at multitasking, they have high cognitive function, and they're good at making quick decisions under pressure. And this is exactly what they needed for air traffic controllers. So they launched this campaign. And last I checked, they had over 13,000 people that had applied and are actually they're evaluating to see if this campaign is going to actually work. So there's a lot of people that are really interested in this. And this is like real life. This is not just like civilization because we've had episodes where we've talked about like how certain games have given us certain like real life skills, but like these are actual like skills that are needed in a job like an air traffic controller that the government is recognizing. Like, this is a federal agency. It is recognizing that gamers have these skills and it could make be a good fit for someone like air traffic control.
Yeah, and so I fly a lot. I fly at least once a month, if not more. And so the FAA is the Federal Aviation Authority, and they're in charge of making sure planes stay in the air. And if you've paid attention the last couple of months, it's the FAA, the cracks in FAA employment window is starting to show. They've been understaffed. Literally, I think they've been. That's kind of an amazing thing for the FAA. They've been understaffed for a long time, over a decade, as far as I'm aware, if not longer, because it takes so much rigor to be these guys, to be in that hot seat, to know so many people's hands are so many people's lives are in your hands to make sure their planes follow your advice, what you say, where to land, how to land, who could take off, where the air is clear, where there's issues. Man, the amount of pressure that FAA people go through to do their job, and to think there aren't enough of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I'm praise God I'm even doing this podcast because my goodness, they are dealing with a lot with so little. So gamers, get in there. Keep me in the air, guys. Come on.
Yeah. But it's interesting cuz what I when I saw this, it made me think about like just the larger, you know, gamer employment world in general because I think I've thought about this before. Like there are legitimate skills that are transferable from people that play games to real jobs. Like there specifically for FAA, I can think of a couple games that are like this is the core fun of the game is like managing a bunch of different things that's all happening at time, when to launch this, when to assign this worker, and there's a bunch of different things. But I wanted to, because this was the thing that was popped up. But it's interesting because I think there's a lot of like different categories of games that give different skills. And I think for someone who's looking to, if you're a full-time content creator, this doesn't apply to you quite so much. But if you're looking for like an actual job, there are some things that if you're one of these different types of gamers, you probably have a competitive advantage from other people around you because you are a gamer. So I wanted to go through a couple of those, because in order to find a job that you enjoy, that you're good at, you need to find what you're good at and figure out a way to employ your skills in a job that you can exercise those things.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, just for me, like there was 10 years where I didn't play video games, and a lot of folks like, how did you just stop playing video games? And I don't think I actually stopped playing. I stopped playing video games, but I was still playing a game, the game of life,
Mm,
and I was doing resource management, and I was problem solving. Like we play all these different video games. So at that time, I was really into JRPGs, which is huge resource management games. Like I would play a JRPG and I would reach the end and never use all the high end items, the one time items, because I was resource managing. I was getting by with lesser potions. And when
mm-hmm.
you're in the business world, you don't get end game items. When you are a startup business, you don't get $1 million budget. You don't get the world's best marketing guy. You don't get the world's best design guy. You know who you get? You get yourself. So, and this is before AI. So I'm over here making
Mm-hmm.
ads, doing postcards, doing all kind. I still remember many of the postcards we designed, and that's literally like any other video game you play. That's literally I was just playing Microsoft Paint, like, but just the part that actually turned into real dollars instead of the one when I'm trying to play a prank on my friends and or my coworkers when I used to work a corporate job. Because boy, oh boy, did I love office pranks. Still one of the sad parts about not being in a corporate environment is there's no way to get someone's stapler in Jello anymore. Because you don't want to do that to your spouse. Let me tell you, do not prank the wife. This is a family show, but let me just tell you, there's adult repercussions when you mess with the wife. So, so much better to mess with your coworkers in the office because you don't have to go home with them. Uh, so yeah, so I think there's so many games, and I also played like Civilization that we've talked about before. Huge resource management, people management skills because you're trying to manage all these different relationships digitally that you then have to do in the business world in person. So for me, I did stop playing like video games. Like I didn't play a single PS. I never played a single PS3 video game or Xbox whatever was out at the time. I
Mm.
went straight from PS2 to PS4. So it shows you my window. And the PS4 was already out for about a year or so before I got into the PS4. So it just shows you I missed a
Hmm.
lot of actual video gaming. Um, but ever since, I know everything about everywhere. I know all the games right now. For now, in the West, I don't know every single mobile game because that's
Yeah,
ridiculous. But
yeah.
yeah,
It seems like there's a new mobile game that comes out every other day. It's insane.
yeah, especially with the advancement of AI slop. AI slop gaming is gonna. Good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck. I really hope the folks who put these games on platforms have a solution to weed out all the garbage that's coming our way. You thought when not Angry Birds, what was that bird? Flappy Bird. There was
Flappy
one
Bird.
developer who developed Flappy Bird, and then he whatever, and then like 10 or 15 people made their own Flappy Birds because he, for his own personal reasons, had to stop making the game. If that
Yeah,
happened
and then there
today,
was
there's gonna be
all
a
the clones.
thousand Flappy Birds. If someone goes
Yeah.
pops off on a game like a Flappy Bird today, no way. You're gonna have it every which way. Taco Bird, just a taco that flies
Yeah.
into my mouth.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
it's interesting. I think we're already starting to see it, like some of the stuff that like see on like the Epic Game Store or even in like Roblox. I don't play Fortnite or Roblox, but I've seen like clips of like or videos of people are like, I'm going through the worst rated games of these, and just like the amount of like, this is clearly someone just said make me this game and then put it out there without actually doing anything. and that's just going to become more and more common, which thankfully, I don't think gamers are idiots. I think people will recognize when there's garbage and when there's actually something quality that someone cared about and will focus on playing the quality games. But that doesn't mean we're just going to not be inundated with tons of games that are just super low quality, super low effort, and don't give your time to that crap.
Well, there is a difference between garbage and memes. I think it's a very delicate line because a meme can quickly become a garbage game. But yes, I 100% agree
Hmm.
with you. But there, you're gonna see a couple meme games. Like there's that one game where you're just a coconut. I don't know if you've seen it. You've seen a coconut game?
If not,
No,
no.
you are just a coconut from a tree. Either it fell to the ground and you're just you're in the viewing from the eyes of the coconut on the ground, and it's so funny because if you want expert mode, can you imagine? So the whole game, the premise is you're literally just a coconut. You don't do anything. You literally just lay on the beach as a coconut. Can you? Do you know what expert mode is? Can you guess what expert mode is in this game?
I have no clue.
Yeah, yeah. So casual mode is you're just seeing the coconut on there. Expert mode is coconuts don't have eyes. So it's just a black screen. And it's just your job is just to let the game run. Like the whole point of the game is how long will you leave it open? And
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
and so that's the difference. If you really think about it, it's a garbage game. It's literally the expert mode is a black screen. They're making money selling a black screen to people. Oh man, gamers. And so that I don't know. I love meme games. I think they're hilarious. But that if you think about it, that's a garbage game. But
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, back to kind of what we were talking about before. I wanted to go through a couple of the different like types of gamers and what are some of the things we see as like transferable skills that you could actually use in a real job. Um, so I'll start off with my FPS gamer friends who, for some reason, still play Call of Duty, or play Valorant, Counter Strike, those type of like SPS shooters game, Rainbow Six Siege, stuff like that. I think there is I think what legitimately is the most transferable skill that not people won't immediately talk about is communication. Because if you're playing like a high stakes FPS game, an FPS shooter game, especially if it's like battle royale type of thing, or Rainbow Six is such a good example because you have to have very short comms because anytime someone is talking, that's time you're not hearing the environment around you. So clear communication is super super helpful for people, and you actually need that in the real world to be able to clearly communicate with the people you're working with clients, to be able to enunciate your points. I think it's really really important.
yeah, I think it's important to know what kind of comms though, because in Call of Duty, it's a lot of these shooters. It's fast comms, quick comms, micro communication, not this full blown soliloquy like this very podcast. If you
Sure.
talk like this while playing Call of Duty or Valorant to your teammates, they will
You're
mute
going to
you.
lose.
So, but it is good to know how to communicate to someone directly because a lot of folks these days talk around and around and around. Let's get to the point. Like, I need you on the point. Like, I need this report at 2 p.m. You can't be like, okay, so, there's this reporting thing we do every week. Like, so do we want you to try? No, 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 no. I need to get to the point. 2 p.m. Need the report. Get to work. You know the parameters. Look, use last week's as a guide and see you at 2. Um, so, yeah. And in those kinds of games, you learn that kind of communication. Get to the point and talk quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple other things I think. Like I said, that direct communication, I completely agree. There is more complex communication you'll need to learn when you're actually like engaging with customers, but being able to clearly set what you're doing, communicate what needs to happen quickly and concisely is valuable. I think for FPS gamers, I think your reaction time is probably going to be a lot better than a lot of other people. So, in a more fast-paced job where you need to react quickly to things that are happening or make decisions under pressure quickly, and run with it, that's another pretty big thing is being able to not waffle between like, oh, should I do this? Should I do this? But like, if something needs to happen, making a good decision and running with it is something that's really important. That I think some of the way those type of games play out is lends itself well to being able to do that.
True.
All right. Anything else for FPS that you wanted to talk about there?
No, no. I think that's FPS players have learned high intensity, so they're really good for jobs in a high intense environment. When everything's on the line, when you're in a 1v6, when it's you versus the world, and you got to clutch up. Like we were at Disney the other day, and the ride broke, and seeing the girl who was running the ride keep it cool is good. It's refreshing. Like she was a young lady. The ride was clearly broken. She clearly didn't know why right away what was wrong, but she kept it together and was able to get the ride going after a couple of minutes of just troubleshooting. But it's very interesting. I didn't realize how many buttons. At the end of the day, Disney, you see these rides. Really, isn't it really just one or two buttons at least? You got the go and the stop. But she was clicking all kinds of stuff, so I was very impressed. I don't, there's no way for us to see
Hmm.
what she's pushing, but it looked like she was pushing a lot of buttons. I was very impressed. I'm like, oh man, these rides are more than because you go to a theme park and it's literally it's not necessarily the highest quality individuals who run the carnival shows.
Sure.
Like these guys are missing half their teeth, and they look like they're toasted by the sun. Um, and they look like they can barely form words. And you're putting your life in their hands when you go on these carousel and all these different life-threatening rides. And that dude looks like he just had a beer at like 10 in the morning. So I just envisioned that at Disney's, and she was cool under pressure. She was probably a gamer because she was cool as ice as everyone was getting annoyed that the ride wasn't moving.
There you
So that was
go.
really cool.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, moving on to the next category of gamers. I think this is I'm biased because these are the type of games grew up playing. But like the strategy games, the game, the StarCraft, the Command and Conquer, Civilization, Total War, these games where you're doing a lot of resource management, there's time constraints, you have to pick between a couple of things because if you do this, you're not able to do this. I think there's a lot of things. I think resource management and long-term planning are two of the biggest things that you'll get from having that type of game or background because you recognize that you have to have a goal that you're shooting for. And in business, this is incredibly important because you have to know what you're doing. You have to have a vision for where you are going. And I think that's something that's strategy games do really well and develop that kind of mental uh, exercise of, okay, I know what I want to do. This is the type of victory I'm going after. I want to conquer this civilization. I want to develop this tech tree so I can get to build my spaceship and win the space victory. I want to be able to, if you're playing something like Command and Conquer, I want to be able to get these resources so I can build this robot and be able to win. Like there's very specific goals that you're going for, so you need to prioritize what you're going to focus on for the rest of your organization or civilization, depending on what it is, um, because once you get to the higher difficulties on strategy games, if you try to do everything, you are going to lose, because the game will absolutely punish you for trying to do everything. And it is very much the same if you're starting a business or getting in something that's a pretty high intensity job. If you are just trying to, you know, bebop along and do every little thing without very specific focus and prioritization, you're not really going to be able to find much success.
You really see people how they play these games, whether they are, or if you're in a corporate environment, you learn really quick how someone sees things. And if the more idealistic they are, in my opinion, the more newer they are. Because those who, just like you're saying it earlier, those who play games at an expert level know you have to make the best with what you've got. You won't have the best of everything, but you got to make A happen. You got to hit that 2 p.m. deadline, and you just got to go with what you got and swing the hardest you could swing at the object, even if you are not ideally ready and have all your rows lined up. Because in
Hmm.
most strategy games, for the most part, unless you're playing a too easy level, there's a lot of uncertainty going into engagement when you're going into, like, when I think of Total War, dude, it's so annoying when there's hidden units. They're hiding in the trees, and you didn't bring detection units. So you gotta let them come out of the woods and start hitting you and throw or sacrifice a pawn, throw them into the forest, and then you gotta get your horses from the side and flank them. So you learn really quick how to handle. I think folks who play strategy games are really good under crisis jobs that have unintended things because you're just used to shifting things around and reacting to that problem. And if you've played at an expert level, you're okay not getting a perfect 10. But you are good at
Hmm.
getting it done. And I think for most
Yeah.
employers, you're okay with that. Unless you get that one jerk boss who not only wants you to react immediately, but do it at absolute perfection, which is just something you learn to do when you're already 6 to 10 years or longer into a career. Man, I used to hate those
Yeah.
bosses that would want that out of the new. Like this is their first year out of college in this job, and you're already breathing down their necks why they didn't see 7, 8 things happen that they should have seen. And it happened to me. I still remember this guy. He flew in on his private airplane to check in on us. Right? We're doing public accounting type stuff. This guy's a partner. Literally flew in. Had to have one of us pick him up at the airport because he's too whatever to drive his own car. Because he only flies airplanes. I guess he's a passenger princess everywhere else. Came into the office, ripped me a new one. Even though the thing he looked at says not ready for review, I literally put on the thing, not ready for review. In other words, don't look at it. I'm still working on it. And the guy, oh man. And so at the time, I still had a person between me and him. Thank God. And she had to explain, like, it's not ready to review. We're still working on it. The dude still chewed
Hmm.
me out. And all I'm thinking in my
Dang.
head is, you airplane jerk. This is why people hate you. Because he already had a reputation that he's a jerk. I'm like, and so I'm just sitting there, just taking it. Because and that's something I think this generation or the younger generation don't realize. You do have to take it if you want the job. I'm not saying you should take it. I'm not saying what he's doing is right. But if you need this paycheck, you're gonna have to sit there and take it. And like whatever this guy probably is a terrible marriage, probably a terrible husband, probably a terrible father. Who knows? Just a terrible human being. But bro, you need the paycheck because you got bills to pay. So allow the little guy who has compensation issues just lay into you. Oh boy, I still remember he was shorter than me too. Like it's just like I'm 6 feet tall, so everyone's shorter than me. But
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
the fact that he was
Yeah.
shorter than me, I was like, man, Napoleon, get out of here. No, but in my head, I was like, man, this job sucks. Uh, and thank God he
Yeah.
got on his plane and he went on his merry way and he was gone. And then she actually, which was nice of her, she apologized. She said, so sorry. I should have known that he was coming in today. And she said I should have hidden the work papers. So that's the environment you're creating as management. She knew the solution was to make sure he couldn't find it, which I just find super shocking when you
That's
talk about
hilarious.
how do you handle it. So the place to hide our unfinished work. That's good. Good job, airplane boss. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're one of these jerk guys, think about what you just did. You just taught your staff to hide work from you. That was her solution. Because there's no way we're gonna get everything done by the time he pulled in. That's just ridiculous. So, or then we
Yeah.
would be done. We wouldn't even be in the field. We'd be back at the office doing whatever. Uh, anyways, I digress yet
Yeah.
again. Bring it
It's
home. Bring it
interesting.
home, Scruffy.
No, it's a fun story. So, yeah, I think the next group I wanted to talk about was MMOs, which I am not a part of. I will never be a part of because I'm not a fan of the MMORPG type of
We're both
gameplay style.
haters. We're both
Yeah,
haters
we
of
both
this
we
genre.
are both very much the pay to play model of online MMO RPGs. I'm not about that. I don't want to have to pay monthly to play your game because that's just weird. But you have the World of Warcraft, you have like the Final Fantasy 14, you have Star Wars Old Republic. There's a plenty of MMO games you can play. I do think there is like some elements that are beneficial though. Is you have the plan, you still have some similar planning aspects of like if you're getting together for a raid or something like that. You have one of the things that's incredibly critical is managing different schedules, because you have people in all sorts of different time zones, different parts of the world, all working together, managing large groups. You still have some resource management in some of these games, depending on how it goes. And then inevitably, this is probably where I think people get the most benefit is resolution, because inevitably someone's going to do something that's going to piss you off, and you're going to have to figure out how to make up or leave, find a new clan, and then make them mad at you, and then continue to clan hop and never actually get to stay in the clan and actually level up and progress. But like if you actually want to do well in these games, you actually have to figure out how to work with people. And it's not easy, let me tell you. Like, especially because there's just certain people that no matter what you do, you are going to be butting heads. And learning how to not let that affect you, and how to still be able to get the work done or still get the raid done despite having to work with someone that just no matter what they do, they are pushing every single one of the wrong buttons. That is really valuable for the business space.
So the very guy who edits this very podcast for us is a World of War trash player, and so I watch him raid, and I'm impressed by those who are shot callers. The coolest person in these games. There's two people. There's two types. One is the one who can tell people what to do to beat the game mechanic. So imagine you have 30 people. I don't know how many people, but it feels like there's at least 15 people, 15 to 30 or more people all fighting a boss, and you have one guy communicating what everyone should be doing. Healers, you need to start healing, go to move left. Attackers, tanks, take his tank or take his rage meter, whatever. Get his attention, get his aggro in the next 3 seconds because he's gonna do X attack. I need the DPS players to jump in the red circles, and then the other guys jump on the blue circles. If you're not with someone, like they're doing all of this, like, and it's
That's
just
a
like
lot.
this weird dance of do this, do that. Those dudes are some serious project managers. You want that kind of guy managing your team of 100 people, 30 people, 2,000 people. Like that
Yeah.
guy can do that in real time or the whole team wipes. And then you see the one guy who screws up, right? In the 30, the one guy who screws up and dies. And that's the other guy, the clutch players. Because when I watch this, our boy AJ who edits this thing, he's a healer. You can see him. You see him healing and it's so funny when people mess up the mechanics and die, and they start dying, they go, "Where's my heals at? Where's my healer?" And then AJ and the other healers get blamed. When you know for sure that the shot caller said jump into the red circle and you didn't, and you died because you weren't in the red circle and you died, and then you say, "I died because the healers suck. The healer AJ heal me. Well, I'm dead." And the real answer is you're either deaf or you can't follow directions or you're obstinate or
Yeah.
you locked in too hard on what you were doing. You weren't. So interesting. So you also learned from the clutch guys because you see them pull through. Like when the boss is down to 1% health, half the team is dead, and it's just like four guys, and it's so cool those hero moments, and you see it. So even though you and I both don't like these MMO games, not only for financial reasons, myself, I think the gameplay is kind of boring. Even though I probably made it sound interesting to you, it's super boring. Don't trust. Don't trust what I just described. Super terrible time. Uh, it is cool to see them win when the team is half dead. So
Yeah.
that's great game design. Sometimes when there's a kill mechanic that they'll sometimes do to force those hero moments. So anyway, to those who like MMOs, kudos to you. I like to pay once for my games and never again, but that's because I'm old school. A lot of folks are used to every month dishing out 15 to 30 bucks. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I ain't about that life, bro. So
Yeah, me neither. But there is some value to it. And last and certainly not least, for both of us, you have the hero shooter type of games. Or so you things like Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. There's a bunch of other ones. Those are probably the two biggest right now. Um, but I think there's a couple of things here. Is it demonstrates the importance of like leaning on different roles, because like we've especially with Rivals, like you've all hopped into a game where you have five insta lock DPS players and you just know you're going to lose because everyone wants to play the one role, and there's no one who's actually going to fill in what is needed to actually accomplish the goal and actually win the game. Um, along that same along that same lens is when you have the people that are willing to be flexible, willing to switch, you have a lot of people who learn how to be quickly adaptable to change what their goal, what their focus is, how they are attacking a problem. Uh, Specifically, like if you're playing on point and you know you're not getting enough damage or you're not getting enough sustain, switching to an additional tank or switching to additional support role that allows you to get just enough to accomplish the goal. That's a similar type of mentality that is really valuable in business, in a job, when you're looking at how to attack a project and what you're doing is not working, instead of just throwing up your hands and being like, well, it didn't work, so we're screwed. Actually finding a way to examine it from a different lens, attack that problem uniquely from a different role, maybe getting a secondary opinion, whatever that ends up needing to be, being able to find a way to find a solution to a problem instead of just looking for problems is really, really valuable. Because business, if you're a business owner or if you're working for a business, your people aren't interested in the people who are finding the problems. They're interested in the people who have solutions to problems, and finding ways to look for different ways to provide a potential solution to a problem is really, really valuable.
Yeah, I think from here shooters, people learn what kind of gamer they are and how they would bring that to the business world. I think it Marvel Rivals. I think it would help if there was like role queue, if you could actually come into the game with the actual roles that you're needed. But conversation for another day. But some folks are really one tricks. They really know how to be a good healer. They know how to be a really good support.
Hmm.
They know how to really freeze people that can fly and it doesn't actually do anything, but they like to freeze people anyways. But what happened? What happened, Scruffy? What are you upset?
That's only the only reason freezes don't work is because other people attack instead of just letting them sit.
Oh yeah, I just push with a shield and I wait till the freeze and then I pick you up and take you to a free trip to Narnia. Anyway, so when it comes to hero shooters, yeah, you really learn what kind of person you are, and how you prefer to play. To your point, it is nice when people can roll over into other roles and fulfill the team out. But man, there are some fantastic Spider-Man players out there. Never on my team, but I see this great Spider-Man players out there. There's some great Winter Soldier players out there that just land the craziest grab. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I think to your point, when if you're a hero shooter person, know your role, stick to it, execute it really well, and count on your team to do the rest. The stinky part is when people don't do their job. When you have a Captain America or some other garbage tank that never is anywhere. You Captain America players who just jump around. You say you're in the back line, but you're not on our back line. You're not on the enemy's back line. Where are you? You're out there checking your emails, fighting, I don't know, an NPC somewhere. But there's some of you that are just so bad, even though you're like, oh, I only play tank. I'm like, where? I haven't seen you tank anything. All you're doing is spending time in dead screen. Uh, anyways, so be good at the role you choose to play, or just
Yeah.
go to one of the easy DPS roles and just sit in the back and be lame. But at least be productive. Oh boy, Marvel Rivals, what a great time. Uh,
Yeah, we need to play again. It's been a while since we've hopped on together sometime.
oh man, yeah, we're now there's at least four characters we've never seen. So yeah, it'd be a good time. How did I die? That girl just turned into a wolf. What's happening right now? This girl just disappeared and reappeared. She keeps stealing my money. What the heck? It's good. I think it's gonna be an interesting time. I'll still be good because I play a pretty selfish role as I forgot her name. What's her name? What's the role I play?
Angela.
Angela. Yeah, Angela's a very selfish character type. She's in her own world, kidnapping people and taking them to places. She like takes you to her own private fights, private fight clubs.
Yeah.
So I think I'll be okay. But yeah, I think you're gonna have a terrible time. Luna is having so many divers right now. I think you'd actually have a sad time because she doesn't have enough freezes to handle all the people. So what? So you freeze one character. What about the next two jumping down your throat? What do you do about
Mm.
those guys? Luna's having a terrible time right now. If you're playing, especially if you don't have a team who cares, it's a bad time. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. But I think what we're trying to get at here is that there are unique things that, depending on how you game, there are unique skills that you have that you can bring to the table. Um, And there are organizations that recognize these skills and are actually using them. We talk about the FAA, but the government has actually been doing this for years, specifically with the military, whether it's drone operators. I have a friend who flies drones for the Air Force, and they literally have a drone that you use an Xbox controller to use. Like it's not even like an off-brand Xbox controller. Straight up with the Xbox logo on the controller, you are flying an actual drone with an Xbox controller. You have people in cybersecurity that are like, if you're a good puzzler and you're trying to break codes and stuff like that, there's genuine analysis roles of people who are really good at finding patterns. If you're puzzle gamers, stuff like that. There's simulation, like virtual reality simulators. I mean, like the Microsoft Airplane Simulator is essentially just a flight simulator or flying that they turned into a game. So there's a lot of different places where you can there that gaming can legitimately provide you practice for different things. So I think there are certain jobs that gamers naturally will be a little bit better at than a potential other candidate. It's just up to you to find out what you're good at, where you can apply what you enjoy. Because you play these different games for a reason, right? Like you play FPS because there's something about it that draws you to it. We play hero shooters because there's something about how that gameplay loop is that we really enjoy. We don't play MMOs because we don't enjoy that gameplay loop. Like, which means I'm probably not probably. I'm definitely not who you want to be the office manager or the manager of your 2,000 person team. That will not go well. But if you want someone who can find a way to approach a different problem, that's the type of things I like in games is figuring out a problem, figuring out a way to attack it. How do I allocate resources to do the thing I want to do? Um, so there's what part of like Romans was talking about earlier. Sometimes you're in a job and there's just parts about it that suck. But there's also if you have a job you enjoy, it's because you're doing something. You're utilizing some of your skills to accomplish something that you enjoy. And there are different industries that are looking for skills that you may have as a gamer.
Yeah, as we're filming this episode, all I can think about is probably employers need to watch this more than those who know, because gamers know. It's just whether gamers actually want those jobs or not, because gamers know what they're good at.
Mhm.
Do they want to work? And I think it's more of a younger generation, because think the younger generation no longer, when you live in an age of prosperity, at least in the U.S., you forget what a struggle is, and any type of struggle is too much for you to handle because you just live such a blessed life growing up. And so it'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see, because I really don't think most folks would have put up with the crap that I put up with when I was coming through, because these bosses were absolute corporate jerks because they knew they had you. They knew you needed
Yeah.
this paycheck, and even though they're a terrible human being, they can say whatever they want because they know you're not going to go anywhere. And people today do know they can go somewhere. You could take a high. I could see so many people younger, if they were in my shoes, they would have quit at that moment and said, "Hey, Mr. Airplane Jerkface,
Mm.
I actually don't need this job, and I don't have to take your unreasonable comments in my direction." Like, I could just see them quitting, and so
Yeah.
one side you would say, "Man, you have no backbone, you have no courage, you fall so weak." But this next generation does not seem to care about homelessness, or
Mm.
or does not care about prosperity. They're just caring about having doing a job that they love. So it's just a. I'm not saying it's better or worse. Actually, I don't like it. I think you should take. I wish the person wasn't such a jerk, but you shouldn't be
Yeah.
so quick to crumble, because I've seen it. It's happened to me. I've hired some young people that literally just absolutely crumble at the first sight of difficulty. I'm like, the whole point of this job. Did you really think you'd come in here on day one and be an expert? Like, dude, did you like? I'm thinking this in my head, but I'm like, how are you so? Why are you so distraught that you've made a mistake? Like,
Mm.
you're new. You're it's very shocking. Very shocking. This next generation is very shocking. And this generation after them, my kids, I don't even know how that's going to play out. So, but don't worry, there'll probably be another world war, some world tragedy that will help remind people what real struggle looks like, and then we'll have another generation of a little bit more grit built into them because of the the harshness of the world has reminded
Yeah.
them it is not actually cupcakes and roses out there. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's interesting because that generally happens. Something happens to galvanize people to recognize, like, oh, it's actually, there is some responsibility I have to take. So it's interesting. But yeah, kind of just to close out, I just wanted to review a couple of the things we talked about. But like, the stereotype for years has been like, well, no matter what, gaming is a waste of time. And there's a degree to which, yes, gaming, you're not necessarily accomplishing too much. But there are, if you really break it down, there are some things that you can develop that are beneficial for your career. Now, if you use that exclusively to play games, then yes, it is a waste of time. But if you are able to examine yourself and find out, like, oh, these are some things that I've gotten really good at because I play this style of game, because I game this way, there are legitimate advantages and skills you can acquire and develop that will serve you for a long time. But that doesn't make things just super easy because you have to search for it and you have to put in the work to continue to develop those skills and apply them to your business. If you're a content creator, you have to approach your content creation as a business and looking at like how you game. There are going to be certain strengths that you have because of the games you play that may lend itself to you, but there's also weaknesses, and that is a big part of it as well. Recognizing this is what I'm really good at, but also at the same time, these are the things I'm not good at that I need to work on or need to get help from someone else to be able to be more of a complete employee, business owner, content creator, whatever it is.
yeah, true. The growth of this next generation of workers will be very interesting to see how it plays out. But for now, the government wants you, and the government needs you, and I need you because I need my planes to stay in the air and land when they're supposed to land, and I don't need any other shenanigans to happen in between. So if you would like a job in if you play video games, more than likely somewhere in the government is a great job for you. And FAA actually make good money. They get paid pretty
They
well.
do.
So because a lot of lives are in their hands. So you know, you want those kinds of jobs if you want to get paid well. Not all most government jobs that are if the job is easy, you will not get paid well. So
Yeah.
just a heads up to this generation that definitely doesn't want the hard take the rock, be the clutch player, be that guy, be the shot caller. Don't be the guy
Hmm.
who plays, the the lame games, the games that play themselves like the Nepo Baby mixtape or other games. Like play real video games that take real skill. Uh and
More than 100 clicks to finish.
was it 149? It was something like that, right? Like
Yeah, so like
150.
150 button presses to finish mixtape.
Yeah. Hey, and while you're listening to this episode, we hit 100 subscribers on this channel, which is a really cool feat.
Yeah.
This channel has been less than a year old. And there's so many ways to just get subscribers. If we really, we want the right subscribers. We want folks who actually want this information or appreciate it versus just creating and just trying to capture. So thank you to the first 100 subscribers of this channel. And we didn't do the funny money thing this time around, so we'll do it next time. But um, I'll tell you, I my day trading. We did a quick analysis. I lost $1,100 in one day.
Oof.
This month will still end positive 1,500 unless assuming today goes well. But there was one day. Imagine Scruffy's worst. What he said was happening happened one day this month. 1,100 something dollars were lost in the blink of an eye. Uh, but still up positive 15. So you can do the math there of how many times we've won. But next episode, we'll do something real, fun to drive Scruffy mad.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, until then, this is Dollars Lifestyle and Charity, a finance podcast for gamers. We'll see you next time. Bye.